Showtime.
It's about that time.
Let's go.
You're right where you need to be. This is GCOM Radio.
Hardest radio station on the planet. Yeah.
Powered by Lyfeblood.com.
We certified.
And hosted by Nova Phoenix.
Give them that flavor.
Okay. What is the deal? What's going on, guys? What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? You are here for one more week of GCOM Radio. Thank you for tuning in for of course, saving of the show on YouTube and what do you call it? Following me on iHeartRadio. Then you know when the show comes on. I appreciate it. Please believe me when I say I do appreciate everybody that follows me on across social media platforms. I'll talk to anybody. I'll talk to two people if I have to. I'll talk to the whole world. Eventually, I'll talk to the whole world, but it's all good. Thank you for tuning in, guys. So, I have to say, I'm doing a short one, another one. You like, yo, no, you doing another? Yeah, man. Listen, I'm doing a lot of things, and just can't do it all. You know, you can't do it all. You know, I'm doing A, B, and C, and I'm not going to get into detail because I don't really like talking about detail. And when I'm ready to talk about it, I will. But just know everything that I'm working on is about expanding the brand and you know, pushing forward and reaching milestones and, you know, trying to elevate and take it where I need for it to go. So this is going to be another short show, folks. My bad. And also, I'm not going to have a show for next week. Why am I not having another show? Because it's Memorial Weekend. Listen, I'm going fishing. This is the first time fishing. I've been a fish eater for so long, but I've always been the person to go to stores to, you know, buy my fish. It's bluefish, salmon, whatever it is that it may be. But yeah, hey man, this time I'm gonna fish. I saw a dude pull out he was, as a matter of fact, walking across the street with two big fishes on hooks, and I'm like, I gotta try that. So I have my fishing pole. I have my fishing gear, the hooks and everything like that. What else? I got my cooler. So, you know, I just have to pick the location and see where I want to be. But yeah, this weekend coming up, I'm going to be fishing. It's 3 weeks, and I'm doing this, man. So, my bad. 3 days, my bad. So it's 3 days that I have in order to do the fishing, and I just got to pick the day. Yeah. So this is going to be a short one. I'm just going to get into the, opening mentions, and I'll just roll out of here. So yeah, let's just get this started, man, and get this thing going. All right. Google is opening another store. Matter of fact, open another store. My bad. I think this is their first store in Manhattan. That is, they're opening a retail store in Manhattan for, I guess, for people that like Google products. They just like how Apple fans has the Apple Store. I guess Google wants to do the same thing. Now they do have a Google office, and I was reading, I'm like, don't they? But it's a Google office somewhere in the meatpacking district. As a matter of fact, right across the street from an Apple Store, I think. If my memory serves me right, and you know my memory, I'm probably totally wrong. But yeah, something like that in Lower Manhattan. So they're opening up a Google retail store, and for Google products. I'm like, wait a second, and I was thinking, I was like, what type of retail store are they gonna open for Google products? I mean, what do they have? Google retail store. Let me see if I can find that store. Opening in NYC. See if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Because, okay, here we go. They're going to be opening a store. I mean, I know they have the Google phone, the Pixel phone. They have the Nest. They got Fitbit devices. They have Pixel books. I just don't see, listen, I mean, I guess this is arguable. Apple does have a lot of products. Some people may say, "Hey, it's just no." I think Apple has way more products. I mean, they have, of course, they have the MacBook Pro, the MacBook Air. They have the iMac. They have the Mac Pro. They have, I think that's it. I think those are 3 things. And a couple of more laptops, and they have headphones, they have wireless buds, I believe, a lot of different products, but those are the main ones. So, you know, when I walk into an Apple store, I see a lot of different things, but I don't know what Google is actually they're gonna have a small store, man. I tell you, or it's just gonna be nothing but Fitbits across on both sides of the wall. The only thing they got is the Pixel phone. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes. I'll check it out. You know, I'll stop by and see what they got going. But, you know, I don't think it's going to be anything close to Apple. I mean, Apple's a whole buyer experience. You know what I mean? Maybe Google could work if they offer, you know, other products that Google doesn't make. I guess to fill up the wall. But I don't know what they have that's really going to, you know, fill up the walls and the desks and the tables and all that. I have no idea. But we'll see how that kind of like happens. I don't know how big it's going to be. I'm sure it's not going to be that big, but whatever. So, all right. So there's a hip hop museum that is going to be opening in the Bronx, man. Oh, man. A hip hop museum will be opening in the Bronx, in Bronx Point. I mean, they just had an official ceremony. They had a LL Cool J, they had Nas, they had DJ Grandmaster Flash, and they had so many people that was over there, you know, representing to do this whole special event to show that New York is gonna have their own hip hop museum. And they do have a hip hop museum. It's the Trap Museum down at ATL. So ATL did do stuff like that, and that's super dope. But this right here, this is in New York. This is the birthplace of hip hop. From its meager beginnings back in the 70s to the global force that it is now. Man, I'm super excited that this is happening. It's going to be a 50,000 square foot museum. It's going to be a part of a $350 million project, including affordable housing to go along the Harlem River front. I think that's dope. Curtis Blow is the co-founder, and Chuck D will serve as the museum's chairman of the board. Now, this hip hop museum is going to open up in 2023, and it's going to coincide with hip hop's 50th anniversary. Oh man, I'm super excited, man. Yo, you don't know how, I'm telling you, I missed it. I saw the article and I'm like, wait a second. It just sank in. I'm like, how come I wasn't there? It would have been dope to be there. And then because a friend of mine that I'm connected with on social media, she was there and I was seeing the pictures and I'm like, yo, how? So, I mean, it's all good. It was just to let the people know that this museum is finally happening. And I'm so charged, man, that the 50th anniversary is right around the corner. Because, of course, everybody knows that I was a hip hop artist back in the day, back in my 20s and my teenage years. And, I just have a love for hip hop. It's my first love, starting so young. I was just my first rapper, as I said, that really inspired me was KRS-One, man. Seeing his video at my aunt's house. And that was really what took me. And then the first tape that I didn't buy, but my dad bought for me when I was young was Fat Boys. So I've been all in hip hop all the way, man. I've been all in, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm gonna tell you, when that museum opens up in 2023, I want everybody to be there at the day of its opening. Every MC, every hip hop artist from the West Coast to Middle America, down south to Texas, to the East Coast in Atlanta to Florida, every single individual that's a hip hop artist executive should be there. This is a big moment. Don't you understand? This is a big moment, especially knowing the history of hip hop and where it started. Because remember, this was not supposed to be here. I remember early on when I was young in the 80s, I remember the news and all this music critics and everyone that was in the entertainment field was basically, shoving off and, pushing off hip hop. Oh no, it's just going to be this fad. It's going to be this little thing. It's just these kids in some poor burnt out borough of the Bronx that, they're just, wasting their time, or it's just what they do. And look where hip hop is today. And we're going to have our 50th anniversary soon, coming up in 2023. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing that we still have the first people that started in this art form still alive today. And we're giving them their flowers, and we always give them their flowers every time there's a new documentary or there's an artist showing love within the culture, and that they're here and they're a part of it. And they're also a part of the new gen hip hop artists that are doing their thing, doing their spin, that we're here together. This is where we show unity. This is where we get together and see our commonalities, and knowing that hip hop in so many ways saves so many lives, not just in New York, but across the nation, and how it is across the globe. This is a very special moment, man. It's a very special moment. There's something else that's happening too that I heard, and I'll talk about that later. So shout out to everyone that's taken a part. LL Cool J, Nas, everyone that was a part. Lil Kim, I heard, was there. I saw, what's this brother named? Davies. I think I saw a picture of Davies. He was there. Man, I wish I was there. But yeah, man, I'm very excited about what is to come in the next couple years up to 2023, man. I'm going to be right there in 2023. What else? Okay, so people are heading back. All right. So as I said before on the show, people are I see it happening. We're getting back to that same snarl traffic when people are slowly going back to work, and venues are opening. People and human beings are cautiously talking closer to each other. You know what I mean? Especially those that took the vaccine, and the conversation is being had that people are slowly getting back to what it was before. And I kind of said my piece, and I don't think so. And yeah, it looks like people or say the captains of industry or these CEOs, founders, whatever, they're kind of like want people to get back to work because we live in a capitalist society. They want to make their money, and certain people are concerned that we're just going to get back to the business pre-COVID, and I don't think so. I think initially what is happening, that people have been cooped up for so long, for 12 to 16 months, and even going back to work is kind of a break in the rhythm that they were doing, like staying home and or going to select places. I think that is what's going to be the break initially, going back to the office and such and so forth. But I think the change is here. And COVID-19, as we've spoke about before on the show many a times, that COVID has changed the way people interact and behave, not just in a professional way, but also on a personal level. I don't think those things have gone anywhere. And also involving movie theaters. I know I said before that movie theaters are going to go the way of the dodo bird and people are going to do movie streaming. And I don't think so. I'm kind of like changing my mind about that, because again, that's a kind of the break in the rhythm. People want to go to the movie. It's an experience going to the movie theater. Now, movie theater is going to have to change the way they present the movie experience to the ticket buyer, because things have to change, because one thing ain't going nowhere. The movie business, in terms of movie streaming and being at home, that's not going anywhere, and that's slowly gonna creep into the new normal as far as how we do things when it comes to movies. So initially people will go to movies, but I think that the movie theaters can't put all their eggs in one basket and think things will go back to pre-COVID normalcy, but it's not. People just want to get out initially, and as soon as they're bored with that, they're gonna be like, I don't want to see that movie in the theater. I'm gonna go see it on TV. You know what I'm saying? So as far as what they've been doing by having reclining chairs and eating dinner in there, again, they're gonna have to really step their game up and do a 180 on how that movie experience is being done in their movie theaters. As far as those newfangled theaters with the recliner seats and the automatic joints and serving dinner more than popcorn and soda, that's good. But again, they're gonna have to really step it up, because if people could choose to stay home and watch it on their 60-inch television, 72-inch television with their surround sound, certain movies are not going to make it in the theaters. I tell you this, the only movies that I think that will make big money are the blockbuster films. And right now, the blockbuster films is the superhero genre, the science fiction drama, the science fiction genre, not drama. That will be big. Like, say, Star Wars, that will be big if they do it right. Let's see how it goes, because the last one, you know how I feel about the last Star Wars. That will be big. And but other like drama movies and comedies, people can see that stuff at home. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, like I'm going back, like Fried Green Tomatoes and The Green Book, and those dramas, and people are not going to see that. They can see that at home. I can see those movies at home. So again, people, let's keep in mind that we do want something different for the world that we live in, and I know things will go back to a certain degree of how things were before, but remember the lessons that COVID taught us, and know that we can take the new ideas that we've thought up in the last 12 to 16 months, we can still make it a reality. And how we work, as far as employees and vacation time or working at home, we should be more human focused and more community focused, and know that we can still live our lives and operate in the system that we live now. But now we can make the primary focus is ourselves. And whatever way that that works itself out, let's do that. And I know a lot of people don't want to go back to the way it was before. It's just right now, this is a little break from what we've been doing. So whatever new ideas with new companies and new projects or new inventions, please let it come. And I always know that human beings were the type of creatures that we would have to be brought right to the very precipice for us to realize that, wow, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore. So I don't want the Himalayas to get fogged up again with more carbon emissions. You know what I mean? Let's not go back to that, man. Let's have people, human beings, able to see the Himalayas right from the communities where they're from on the other side of the globe. Because to do anything the same way is like, what did we do? What did we learn? Did we learn anything from the time that we were at home and looking at all these lives being lost and families hurt? And, let's just try to do this different. Let's see what we can enact in the next 3 to 5 years. And it's a lot of big changes are already happening now. But if we want the society that we want in the way that we want it, it's going to take us as individuals to change it. Okay. What else is happening? Yeah, I was on, and speaking of that, actually, it kind of irks me in terms of what COVID-19, everybody knows Rob Schneider. Rob Schneider is an actor, comedian that he's been on. I think he's a Saturday Night Live guy. And he's actually posted something that kind of perturbed me, and I answered him back on Twitter. And he actually was retweeting what someone said on his account. And he said some snarky remark that, let me see if I can bring it up, because it was like, dude, what are you talking about, Rob? And I like Rob Schneider's vibe. But then, when you say silly stuff, and I'm like, nah, bro, you can't really talk craziness like that. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? I'm on my Twitter right now. What did this fool say? Stick with me, folks. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this Rob Schneider joint. Where you at, Rob? Where you at? Where you at? Is in my tweets, and wow, I saw it before. Now I can't find it. Maybe if I go to Rob Snyder's page. Let me go to my profile, tweets and replies. He said something real crazy. No. Stick with me, folks. Hold on a second. Did I find it? Yeah, here it goes. All right. So he says when the people take back control of their lives, politicians shudder. So he retweeted some dude by the name of Alex Berenson. Excuse me, Berenson. And it was a thread from appnews.com saying Pennsylvania voters imposed new limits on governor's power. And it said Pennsylvania voters became the first in the nation to curb the governor's emergency powers, approving constitutional amendments proposed by Republican lawmakers angry over Democratic Governor Tim Wolf's handling of the COVID-19 outbreak. The vote on Tuesday's statewide primary ballot came as Republican lawmakers across the country had sought to roll back the emergency power governor's wheel during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's the constitutional amendments will give lawmakers much more power over disaster declarations to apply whether the emergency is another pandemic or natural disasters. This is what I'm saying. Like, this is foolishness that kind of gets me, man. Because for Rob Snyder to say this, like, you know, I'm like, what? Listen. I have my own feelings in a lot of ways in different parts of how this whole pandemic was being treated. But besides that, at the end of the day, hundreds of thousands of people in America lost their lives to COVID-19. They lost their lives. And I understand that you have to do something as a nation to try to keep this virus from spreading. And one of the methods before an actual vaccine was put together on a rush was using masks and social distancing. So if you feel that your life is in some way hindered, or you're losing your constitutional freedoms, or you feel a need to try to control Governor Tom Wolf from enacting emergency powers to keep any more people from dying, you are an idiot. I don't want to say that right from my mouth. You are an idiot. He didn't say people to do something crazy like, I don't know. He didn't tell people to do something that was out of the norm. All you had to do was put fabric on your face, socially distance, and use alcohol to make sure you clean your hands on whatever you touch or whoever. I mean, come on, folks. Come on, man. Let's not be foolish. And it's sad that you have a guy like Rob Snyder really back this guy up on this article that he shared. And I think people are just way overboard. People died. And I don't even know what's going on in the minds of these folks to feel that their constitutional rights have been violated and that they would have to do something to hold back or tie up Governor Tom Wolf's hands. And I'm like, the idiocy, man. I know, man, it just gets me. It just gets me, man. And I thought, in a lot of ways, COVID-19 was gonna bring people together, and it has in some ways. But there's just a certain sect of people, a group of people that are insane, man. Insane. Another thing, COVID related, India. I know I haven't talked a lot about international news other than, recently Israeli and Palestine, but India was it's sad at what's happening in India, man. It's such a poor country. They are advancing as a society, technologically, socially, in certain areas. I know there's some issues, and someone that I'm connected with has a problem with Modi. I think the prime minister of the Indian prime minister is Modi. I don't know the absolute details. I would have to ask. Is this guy named Modi? Yeah, Narendra Modi is the prime minister of India. That they don't like his tactics. He's saying sometimes it's kind of like Trumpish or whatever. Like, I don't know. I'm not too sure. But India is getting hit hard by COVID-19, and I saw some video of their long lines of people trying to get oxygen. They're running low on the oxygen tanks. They're doing bad, but yet people are still are coming together to try to help India. There's a small Indian community in San Fran that led a drive for oxygen concentrators. There's some backpack-sized units that could be for home use or portable to send to India, and they raised about $280,000 on GoFundMe. Another individual, Ruchika Talwar, resident at University of Pennsylvania, he raised $500,000 with other physicians to send supplies directly to the state-run hospitals. And lastly, UPS and FedEx, man, they put up some aid. UPS raised $1 million, and FedEx promised $4 million to help out the Indian people suffering from this COVID-19. So we, in a lot of areas, some ways where we want to try to get back to normal right here in this country, even though we're still dealing with it, there are other countries around the world that are worse off. And that's why it's considered a world pandemic. So when I hear Rob Snyder say idiot things like this, I'm like, dude, in another country, people are suffering, and America was here. We did have, I'm like, so when people talk all this nonsense, all this politics about COVID-19, and they're trying to downplay it. It has in a lot of different states, and politicians trying to downplay it, and it's not that serious, and constitutional right violations. And I see people online and videos not wearing their masks, walking into stores and being defiant and obnoxiously defiant, and walking around without it and cursing people out. It is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous what's happening. So, yeah, man, Rob Snyder, nah, bro. You lost some cool points for me like that. When you can say something like that, knowing that right next to you, in terms of countries to the United States, like you have countries right next to you on the other side of the world, people in other states, like they're still dying from COVID, and then you have people just say, well, no, you're violating my constitutional rights. I don't have to wear a mask. And I'm like, and they come with some idiot excuse why it's sad, man. It's really sad, and I wonder where they're getting their information from. And we have a big part of the U.S. population that is so heavily brainwashed, and they walk around acting like this, and it's embarrassing as a human being living in this country, man. It's superiorly embarrassing. Yeah. Next up, hey man, electric cars, man. So it's funny. I speak about electric cars from time to time. Electric cars, because they run on batteries, they're silent. And one of the conversations I've been having with some other people in the past, it was like, oh, I don't like electric cars. And one dude had a bike. He was like, yo, I got a motorbike, and they got it. I said, yeah, they got electric bikes and all. He said, nah, I don't like that because nobody's going to hear you coming. I mean, because it's running on batteries, you can't hear the roar of the engine. The one thing I'm going to miss, I can't front, with internal combustion engines is the low grumble in that car when you just, when you're at a standstill, when you're parked at a red light, or you just park and you hear that. I mean, when you take off, I can't front. I love that sound, but I understand there's some bad things associated with that sound when it comes to fossil fuels. So I'm all in with electric cars. I'm all in. But I do understand that they do run silent because there's no moving parts, there's no pistons, there's no other parts that we understand with ICE cars. So they had this one guy, I'm not so sure who hired him or they put him to task. His name is Yuri Suzuki, and he has a team that they're creating unique sounds for electric vehicles that change in its pitch when it speeds up and when it slows down. So he has one sound that's like a traditional engine sound, but another sound that's kind of like, how should I explain? I don't have the sound with me right now because I saw it on online and I couldn't pull it. It kind of sounds like Kit, when Kit speeds up, he goes, it sounds kind of fly, really futuristic, man. So they tasked this guy to really see what ways that they can install some sort of engine sound in a car as it goes. And it'll be dope, actually, if they can give different choices. They give choices, people, especially with Tesla. I know probably Elon Musk probably caught on to this already by now. And it'd be dope if there were different sounds that people could use. So, every car sound could be different. I don't know. We'll see how that turns out. We'll see. Method Man, he's starting a new production company called 6 a.m. He's getting on the executive side, and I think that's nice. It's good that he's doing his acting thing. but you always gotta, you don't want to keep all your eggs in one basket. You want to be able to kind of spread your wings and get into other things. So he's got this production company. So I think one of the first projects, they say he's going to do a How High 3 with Redman under 6 a.m. production. So shout out to Method Man, man. Shout out to Method Man and him doing his thing. I know he's doing his thing right now with Power, but I'm really looking forward to see how deep he goes with 6 a.m. productions and see what movies that he can crank out. And of course, there's going to be some hip hop themed joints, but I really want to see how he's going to flex his muscles on this 6 a.m. Productions company. So big ups to Method Man. Next, associated with the Hip Hop Museum and the 50th anniversary of hip hop, we have Mass Appeal. Everybody knows Mass Appeal, the magazine that was out. Dope, right? It shuttered its doors, closed its doors at one point, and then Nas came in with some investors, and he invested in Mass Appeal. Now they have Mass Appeal Digital Media. They do everything. So they have a deal with Showtime. They're actually going to do original programming, digital shorts, unscripted shows, documentaries, and a whole lot more. And the chief creative officer of Mass Appeal is veteran journalist Sasha Jenkins. They're going to be working on this programming, and it's going to go through for the next 2 years up until it crescendos to the 50th year anniversary of hip hop in 2023. Now that's hotness, man. I'm looking forward to what content that they're going to create as we go and we all going along the path of the 50th anniversary. I'm going to see who I can get in touch with, because I got to be getting in touch with this man. Come on, man. Come on. Oh, man, I'm charged when I hear that. So that's super dope, man. That's culture really expanding and representing. Because, we're not young anymore. This is not when I was 85 and hip hop was young and I was like 9 and 8, whatever the case may be. And now we were fully grown. Hip hop has matured. The people that are artists matured. They moved into executive roles. They're doing a lot of other things, investing, like Nas and what he's doing, and Jay, and Master P, and seeing all these folks really doing it up and expanding the reach of where hip hop culture could be outside of music. And I think that's a beautiful thing, man. Hip hop is the force that it is. It's got to be respected, man. It's going to be respected in the content is being created online through the museum and in other ways. As I always say, with the governance structure, who are we to each other? How are we going to do this? What is our values? How do we start formulating the strings around each element of hip hop and creating this into the culture that we always talk about? So I can't wait for that. And last but not least, before I get out of here, the New York mayors. So we have New York mayors, and we have the primary that's coming up. And I'm a New Yorker, born and bred in Brooklyn, and I'm always gonna love New York. It's a bittersweet relationship I have with New York, but that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, we're gonna have our New York mayors come up, man. We have a list of them right now. It's Eric Adams. We have all of them are Democrats because, New York City is the multicultural city that it is. It's always a democratically leaning city. And we had one Republican mayor in my lifetime. No, we had a few. But the recent Republican mayor was, of course, Rudy Giuliani. Now, I don't know how we got that F-boy in there, but he was a Republican that got voted in as the mayor of New York City, and a democratic city, and I don't understand how he got in, but we see all the F-boyness he's doing now, and I think back on it, I'm like, how did this guy get in? Anyway, it's a new day, it's all good, and right now the trend is leaning towards Democrats. I don't see a Republican running for New York for quite some time. I'm telling you, it's gonna be about 2 decades, I think, before we see it, because it was that much damage done by Rudy Giuliani being Trump's butt boy for as he was president, man. It soured so many people's mouths, man. New Yorkers, it was like, yo, get this guy. You're not just as the president of the United States, but just, can you believe this dude was born and raised in Queens? And he came out of New York, and they're like, yo, get this guy out of here. So, all right, so we got this, the New York mayor primary coming up. So we got Eric Adams. We got Art Chang, Democrat, of course. Most of them, all of them are Democrats. Sean Donovan, Catherine Garcia, Ray McGuire, Diane Morales, Scott Stringer, Maya Wiley, Andrew Yang, of course, and Carlos Menchaca, but he dropped out, all right? He dropped out of the race for whatever reason. I don't know why. So we have a couple of people that are kind of peeking out. We got Eric Adams peeked out because he's a Brooklyn Borough president. We have, of course, Andrew Yang. He ran as a president in the presidential campaign. And of course, he lost. Now he's trying to go for the mayorship in New York. Everybody knows Maya Wiley. Her face popped up a couple times. She has a civil rights background. And now she's trying to, I believe she worked, I forgot who she, oh man, God. I forgot. And I'm going to get to that in a second. We have Ray McGuire. Ray McGuire is another guy that's running, that's backed by Jay-Z, and I think Nas kind of co-signed him. So we have a number of different people that we've seen their faces around. All right. So I went to a site just to see what the policies were, and I bumped into this site called cssny.org. And they're the Community Service Society of New York. And they're, I'm going to read it word for word so you guys understand what the site is about. Is an informed, independent, and unwavering voice for the positive action on behalf of more than 3 million low-income New Yorkers. CSS draws on a 175-year history of excellence in addressing the root causes of economic disparity through research, advocacy, litigation, and innovative program models that strengthen and benefit all New Yorkers. So I see where they're going, and that's a great thing that they're doing for New York. So CSS actually has a page on their site that kind of lists out the race for mayor, all the candidates, and it has their picture, and it has about 5 points that they pose that each candidate wrote out, and it's been placed on the sites. One is COVID-19, how to handle that; economic equity, how they're going to handle that; housing, healthcare, and of course criminal justice. When it comes to police brutality, let me just click this down, and each one to the right of it has a plus sign that you click on, and you can see their responses. Of course, as I said, one with the NYPD, criminal conviction, dealing with criminal civil life sentences. And what else? The last one is 13.3% of Americans currently looking for work. Individual with a criminal record. How are you going to deal with people with criminal record when they're looking for work? So yeah, so this falls under criminal justice. So I'm not going to go through each one because I was thinking about, should I go through each one? And I'm not going to do that. All I'm going to say is that people should do their research. People should do their research. And I've understood at the age that I'm at now that candidates are going to tell you what you want to hear. I mean, everything from the president down to your local office. And they have these points, and it's all nice, and it's all, set up, and they have their responses neat, 3 paragraphs, bullet pointed, and whatever. Yeah, whatever. All right. And no disrespect to any of these candidates, but my thing is, let's try to really be smart about this, because this is definitely gonna send New York in the right direction for the next 4 to 8, 10, 20 years. And my thing is, right now, what I see as I'm looking at these websites is who they're pushing forward right now is Andrew Yang and what's his name? Eric Adams. I believe Eric Adams he's an ex-cop, and he retired, and he got himself into politics, and he worked his way into Brooklyn Borough president. So my thing is, I see the major news networks already pushing, they're saying their polls, the lead people are now Andrew Yang and Eric Adams, and I'm like, really? Polls? What poll? When was this poll done? Who was involved with this poll? How do we know this poll is legit? Like, polls can be so subjective because it depends on the questions you ask and the way that you ask them and who you're asking. So polls are not something that you can put too much confidence in, because you don't know what criteria or how should I say, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. Here we go. You know how I do, good folks. What parameters are being used to understand how these candidates, Eric Adams and Andrew Yang, kind of, as they said in this one poll, they're leading the pack. And right now, Andrew Yang is, it's kind of like neck and neck between Andrew Yang and Eric Adams. I'm like, huh? I'm not going to listen to polls. I'm not going to listen to major news networks on who's running, because basically you're telling me who I should vote for. They're selecting for you who you should vote for. And I want people to understand and be aware and be keen to how this news is being presented to you on the major networks, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, and 11. When it starts ramping up with the primaries, when it ramps up to the actual mayoral election. The people have to choose who they want as mayor. And how do you do that when you have all these candidates? They're going to tell you what you need to hear. Now, it's nuanced. You have to do your homework. And a couple things, that I see when I make my judgment is, what are they doing on the streets? You got to watch their moves. A lot of these candidates I haven't seen on the streets. I don't see them having a social media presence. I don't see them on YouTube. The only ones that I do see that's getting in front of my face is Eric Adams, Andrew Yang, Maya Wiley, and a little bit of Ray McGuire, but just because he had Jay-Z's name attached to it saying that he was backing. But so I don't see any of these people really getting and doing the footwork to talk to the people if they want to be chosen as the next mayor of New York. It shouldn't be something that I should find on a whim. I should be able to say, go on to social media and it should just be filled. They should be doing promotions. They should be having their people out there for them, handing out flyers. There should be, and there was one individual that just gave me a flyer, but I don't see any of that street work happening. I don't see any social media presence taking place. The only one that I see as far as social media presence is Andrew Yang. But because you ran for president, of course, there's going to be a little bit more cameras pointed in your direction. So you have to see who they're speaking to. How genuine do they seem when they're campaigning in the streets? You just can't have your people out there. You have to roll up your sleeves and get out and stand in front of those subway stairs, and you have to greet people and smile and record it and put it on your social media. And you have to really start connecting with the folks. We're getting close to this primary. What are we doing here? What are they saying? What are they not saying? That's also key to me. What are they not so much of what they want to do, but what are they not saying that you feel is a necessary thing for you to make your choice for the next mayor of New York City? What was their stance in the last 10 to 15 years in their political careers? What did they vote on? What did they support? What did they not support? These are key things that goes into who you're going to assess to be your next mayor. What did they primary thing? Who's funding their campaign? Who's funding them? Where are they getting their money from? Are they from the people? Are they getting from lobbyists? You kind of gotta dig behind. And some news publications, the smaller ones, sometimes I don't want to leave out the bigger ones either, but it depends on where you go. Google their names. Some of these publications, online publications, will say, hey, this guy is taking money from such and such. So let's not allow the major news to tell us who we should vote for. We got to go out there and even make calls. If you check out their site and there's something that you like that attracts you to them, maybe you should call their campaign office. I don't know, Google it, do the work. I just got a letter where it's calling for the primary. I haven't really opened it yet, but I'm going to take my time to open it now because we are getting close. I got a whole stack of freaking envelopes here in mail I got to go through. This is the time. What New York is going to be. What's New York going to be for the working poor, for the blue collar, the working class? I'm not worried about the rich. The rich is taken care of. They'll always be taken care of, regardless. But the people that really drive the engine of New York City, the innovation, the new businesses, the entrepreneurs, the founders, the people that work in construction, the people that are teachers, the people, I have to even say, police officers. I'm not leaving them out. All the blue collars, the fire department, everyone involved, daycare, the Department of Education, everyone that works a blue collar job, they're caught in the struggle trying to figure out how they're going to live day to day in New York to make their lives a little bit easier, a little bit smoother. Those are the people. That's the heart of the New York City, man. When I walk up to a train and I see a variety of different people on the train, I see Latino, I see Jewish, Hasidic Jewish, I see the black folk going into their jobs. I see all types of folks. I see the gay community. I see the LGBTQ community. I see the handicap. I see a variety of different folks other than the tourists that make up New York City. And we have to figure out where we're going to go that's going to improve the lives of people in this great big apple that we have. New York City is not like any other city in the United States, where so many people are elbow to elbow. It's not LA, where you hop in your car and all you're doing is driving all day and you're getting caught in traffic and you're doing all these things, LA things. New York is New York. We original, man. The things that we do is in no other place. We are a densely packed city, and we see each other when we get on these trains. We see each other when we get on the buses. We see each other when we go into the bodegas. We see each other when we go to the clubs and all the nightlife that's going on in the museums, at MoMA, in Central Park, in Prospect Park. When we go into to Barclays Center to see the Brooklyn Nets. When we go into the Garden when we want to see the Knicks. This is New York. What do we want? What do we want? What do the people want? And we can all have it if we all get together and we can figure this out. And we press the people to do their jobs as the public servants that they're running in. We don't work for them, they work for us. If we want something that's going to improve our lives in the boroughs, in the city, in the big city, what are we gonna do? And we gotta do the work. We gotta do the homework. We got to challenge them. We can't allow the news to tell us who we should vote for. If we want Maya Wiley, then we should go for Maya Wiley. If we want Catherine Garcia, then we should go to Catherine Garcia. Personally, I'm not too hung up on Andrew Yang. I liked what he was doing when he was running for the presidential campaign, but he's had a lot of missteps when he was trying to go out and connect with the people. And it was clumsy. It was off target. It looked just premeditated. I did not connect with it. Now I'm reading up on Eric Adams. I'm reading up on Art Chang, reading up on this thing on CSS. I'm like, all right, I like what he's talking about. That's just initial, right? Every Democrat is going to have the same talking points. Art Chang, if I could, man, if I see Art Chang a couple times, hey, you never know. But I'm not going to pick, I'm not going to pick the next dude because he black. I'm not going to pick the next man because he's a man, the next politician because he's a man, or I'm not, because I'm beyond that. I'm beyond the first anything, the first black, the first Asian, the first woman, the first bisexual, the first gay, the first Jew, first. No, what are you going to do to change the conditions of this city, to help clean it up, to give people a fighting chance to live a quality life? That's what I'm more concerned with. So I don't give a goddamn if you black. What work are you going to do? So let's do our homework, folks. Let's make it happen. I have a couple of people on the list. I'll see how it's going to look. I'm going to read through. I got the time this week. I'm going to check it out. I'm going to make some calls. And I'm going to do my duty as a citizen. I got a couple of people that I'm looking at. So that's the deal, y'all. I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate you guys listening to me. I appreciate you guys taking the time to having that radio on, to having the headphones on, you're in your car, wherever you're at, listen to me talk my thing. I do appreciate it. So again, as I said, I'm not going to have a show next week because I'm going to be fishing. I'm doing my fishing thing this Memorial weekend. I'm going to kick back and I'm going to see what I do. Do the things what I do with my daughter. You know what I mean? And I'll be coming back with a full show, I promise, the following weekend. The weekend after that, the week after the Memorial, right? And we'll come with that. As I always say, please, people, you know how I do. Lyfeblood.com, sign up. Let's build a better world. Not just in the mayor that we're going to pick, but we're not going to leave it to mayors. We're going to leave it up to us. That's how we stay active as human beings, as citizens. We're just not going to empower the next person that's going to be mayor, but we're going to empower the next person next to us financially, emotionally, socially, and we're going to build it whether they like it or not. We going in our own direction. You know what I mean? So people, please sign up, build that community. Let's talk with each other, share a dollar, do what we do. And I'll see you guys in the next go round. So I'm out. Peace.
Check it.
You just listened to GCOM Radio, powered by Lyfeblood.com for the global community.
We worldwide, baby.
See you in the next go round. From right here to your town, we out.